Welcome everybody to Red's Ramblings. I have with me today Aswin from over in India, currently living in Karnataka, originally from Kerala. Aswin, go ahead and tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Hey guys, my name is Ashwin. First of all, thank you so much for inviting me. This is an honor. Like being a guest on a podcast is maybe not a dream, but it's fun. It's always fun to be a guest and to talk, just rant and ramble about whatever it is, which is also
Yes.
why I loved your name. I found it very, very interesting. It was very unique too. So I caught on to that first. So
Okay,
I
that's cool.
am, I study business in a university in Karnataka, and I play cricket. I want to be a journalist in the future. So that's also why I have my own podcast and yeah, stuff like
Okay.
that. So
What's your podcast called?
it's called Just Baatein, Baatein. It means to just talk. So Baatein
Oh
is a
yeah.
Hindi word. It's just talk. Yeah.
Okay, cool. How long have you been doing that?
Oh, we just started a couple of months ago. My friend and I, so he's an engineering student. I'm a business
Mhm.
student, but we have this love for speaking and information and stuff like that. So we
Yeah.
thought we start a blog first. So both of us are writers too, and
Mhm.
then we got on to starting a podcast.
Well, that's cool. I know when I started mine, I'm a lot better when it comes to writing. You know,
Mm-hmm.
anyone who writes, you sound a lot better. You can pick and choose your
Yeah.
words to sound
Mm-hmm.
more intelligent. And so my
Yeah.
speaking, sometimes my tongue gets ahead of my head, right? So I,
Mm-hmm.
I ramble, I jumble and whatnot. So that's one of the reasons why I decided to do a podcast more of like, I guess, training. I figure the more I do it,
Mm-hmm.
hopefully the better I'll get at it. And for me, like I'm a lover of history. I've always loved history. So felt, what better way since I can't go anywhere to learn about other cultures and other people than to reach out to those people from over there, and get how it is for them, not just what you read in a history book, which was approved by somebody,
Mm-hmm.
get it from how it really is from the locals. So I started to do this. First question then I have for you is what brought you to Karnataka?
Oh, so it's a lot of travel. So my dad kept
Mhm.
changing jobs. So we were somewhere in the central part of India, that is Mumbai.
Okay.
And then lived there for the first, at least my first 5 years of my life. We
Mhm.
were there, and then we shifted to Bangalore, which is in Karnataka, which is a
Mhm.
metropolitan city. It's called the Silicon Valley of India. So
Yes.
we moved to Bangalore, and I've been here for around 14 years. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Are you
Hmm.
liking it over there?
Oh yeah, it's fun. It's lovely. The kind of people you meet in Bangalore's from everywhere
Yeah.
around the country. So not just locals from the particular state, because
Mhm.
Bangalore is a metropolitan city. You find people from everywhere. It's not only in India. You find people from the States, Australia, New Zealand. So it's from people everywhere. So that's what's fun about it. That's what makes Bangalore so vibrant.
Yeah, you get a little bit of everything there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because one of the things I
Yeah.
looked at when I pulled up Karnataka, it was I got the whole Silicon Valley of India. I got that
Hmm.
vibe from it. A lot of articles mentioned that. And then when I looked at Kerala, it was more like tropical beaches and very very touristy. So it from at least what was shown, very big difference between Karnataka
Yeah, it is.
and Kerala.
Yeah, it is quite a big difference, even culturally, even though we are
Hmm.
neighboring states, right next to each other. There is a big difference. Kerala's, I don't particularly know the reason why, but it's called the God's own country.
Hmm. Hmm.
Bec-
I
Yeah,
came across
but
that.
be, yeah, being someone from Kerala, I'm ashamed that I don't know it. But I don't know why it's called that. But yeah, there is a difference. So there's a difference in food, there's a difference in the way people speak. The
Hmm.
languages are drastically different,
Oh yeah.
and the way people dress up, go about their things, it's quite different. It's very, very different.
Yeah, one of the things about the languages that I come across every time I'm doing research on India is the main language of India is Hindi. And
So here's the thing. So we don't actually have a main language. So
mhm,
this is a political division, right? Because we
okay.
were supposed to have, yeah, so we were supposed to have Hindi as our national language, but
Mhm.
some states in our country went against it. I think rightfully so, because our country has a lot more languages than one.
Yeah.
So to make Yeah, so to make one language as the national language. So yeah, you're right. So predominantly there are a lot of Hindi speakers, but there is no main language as such.
I mean, I agree with what you're saying. Uh, a lot of people here in America get confused that thinking we have a national language. We don't. Yeah, primarily it's English, but there is no
Mhm.
national like in the books. We don't have a national
Oh,
language. It's whatever people speak. We got a little bit of everything over here. Same with you guys,
I
because
honestly didn't know that. I didn't know
really,
that. I honestly thought because I've seen a lot of videos where they
yeah.
fight for English speakers in America. So I was naive. At least I
Hey,
learned something.
I get it anytime. Just right now, I was saying main
Mhm.
language in India. I was wrong.
Yeah. That-
So, but yeah, it's definitely a lot of ignorant Americans do think that as well, and that's the part that's it's aggravating to come across because it's not a thing.
Mhm.
But for Karnataka, in the books, it says their main language, at least, is pronounced Kannada.
Yes, exactly. Oh, you got it spot
Okay.
on. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Kannada,
And
yeah.
and that was a new one.
Mhm.
I haven't come across that one. I haven't come across in the people I've spoken with about India. I've come across Bengali,
Mhm.
Hindi, got English as well thrown in there. And there was one more I don't remember off the top of my head. But so the
Mhm.
Kannada is a new one. Is that one that you speak?
Oh, so so again, here's the thing. I'm from Kerala as a
Yes.
family, but I've never stayed there for more than 3, 4 months. That's
Hmm.
usually in my school vacations. So because I stayed the first predominant years of my life in Bombay, and Bombay
Hmm.
is a Hindi-speaking city, I speak Hindi at home. I don't speak
Yeah.
Kannada. I don't. So this language spoken in Kerala is Malayalam. I
Hmm.
understand Malayalam. My family speaks Malayalam, except I don't. I speak Hindi. I understand Kannada just because I've lived here for 16 years.
Hmm.
But again, I don't speak the language. I'm ashamed, but I don't. It's a tough language to pick up. The only reason I know the Kannada that I know is because of sports.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
played a lot of sports, I'm involved with a lot of locals too, and that's how I picked up the language.
Do you plan on learning it?
Maybe. Yeah, I don't see a reason why though. So I've been trying to learn my mother tongue, my own mother tongue, Malayalam, from the
Okay.
state where I'm from,
Yeah.
and I've utterly failed at it, miserably failed at it. So I've given up on that for now. But yeah, Kannada definitely, because even the university I go to, there are a lot of Kannada speakers around,
Hmm.
which even they are shocked that I don't speak the language, even
Yeah.
though I've lived in the state for 16 years. But yeah, I've slowly picked it up. I can't speak though, but I can understand quite a bit. I can
Yeah.
understand enough to have a conversation with maybe
Mhm.
Hindi and English involved, from my
I
part at least.
Yeah, I mean, if it gets you by, that definitely it's at least something.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Hmm.
I know I want to learn. I've started taking some Mandarin classes. One of the guys I
Oh
spoke to
wow.
from yeah, one of the guys I spoke to from Malaysia, he does some language classes and he's doing Mandarin, so he's
Hmm.
helping me out with that. And then I also want to do like Japanese, Spanish. It's I live here in the States, and that's probably our second biggest
Yeah.
language.
Hmm.
And I want to do German and Russian as well. I figured those, and as much as I've spoken now to people from India, and I've fallen in love with that country a lot more than I thought I would have.
Oh,
I should
that's nice
probably
to hear.
I should probably add Hindi into it as well because I think Hindi is also the third or second most spoken language in the world, if I recall. I had
Yeah,
that number
should
yesterday.
be,
Yeah, it's
depending on
way
the
up there.
population of our country. Yeah.
It's way up
Yeah.
there for sure. So I think I should probably add that in there. Um, so what can you tell me are some of the biggest differences you've come to know from Kerala to now living in Karnataka?
So the food is quite different. So a
Hmm.
lot of people from Karnataka will disagree with me here, but a
Okay.
lot of food food from Kerala is a lot spicier. It's
Okay.
very, very spicy
Yeah.
compared to the food in Karnataka. So the food is very different, and
Hmm.
it's nice. It's different to an extent where both are arguably the best. Like if
Okay.
you prefer one over the other, it's great. But
Hmm.
yeah, the food is quite different. Even the types of festivals celebrated in Kerala
Hmm.
and Karnataka. So again, because we have a lot of states, because we have a lot of cultures and
Yeah.
traditions, we have a lot of festivals. So
Mm-hmm.
we also have state-based festivals, right?
Okay.
So Kerala, not state-based, but yeah, religion-based, but it's predominantly on one state. Right.
Okay.
So we have a festival in Kerala where we line up elephants and we pray to them, and it's very festive. There's a world record in Kerala for the highest played band without a microphone.
Okay.
So yeah, so the largest band without a microphone, because you don't need one. You should if you're searching it, you should search. It's called Trishur Puram.
Can you spell that for me?
PWRAM. Yeah, so PWRAM,
Okay.
Kerala, and you'll find what that's about. It's a lot of crowd, it's a lot of excitement, a lot of people jumping around. And there's music, except it's music played from instruments I don't think you'd find in Western countries.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Kerala and Karnataka have this thing where so Karnataka is, I wouldn't like to say this, but a little more progressed in the state in this
Mm-hmm.
way that it has more resources and economically is doing much better, which is also why Bangalore is in Karnataka and considered the Silicon Valley of India, where IT companies from all around the world come and settle down there. So that way, Karnataka is more progressed than Kerala.
Yeah.
And yeah, like you said, Kerala is very tropical. It's a lot of forests and beaches and backwaters. It's a beautiful, beautiful state.
Yeah. That's what it definitely looked like it said they have a lot of tourism over there, and it does look
Mhm.
a huge. It's because it's on the coast, right? It's a huge coastline
Yeah,
country
yeah, exactly.
or state. So yeah, you would definitely get a whole bunch of beaches and touristy spots. That festival you were speaking of, I got a whole bunch of them pulled up. Can you say it one more time?
So it's called Trishur. So that's the city name, but THRISSUR and PWRAM.
Oh,
You'll
got it,
find a
got it.
lot of elephants with golden faces and people, a lot of people.
All right, I'm about to bring that up here. Okay. Dang. Yeah.
Oh yeah, exactly that. Yes.
And all these are elephants? The
Yeah. Yeah, all of them. Yeah. So okay, so there's a fascinating story, all right? So there are
Okay.
two highly reputed and historic temples which face each other.
Mm-hmm.
So there are, I think, 10 to 12 elephants lined up across these temples. So they're facing each other.
Mm-hmm.
So you see these umbrellas on top. So it's
Yes.
like a mini competition of who can get the pretty umbrella. So every now and then they change the umbrellas every 10-15 minutes. And so the umbrellas vary. So they vary in color, they vary in sizes. So it's not really a competition, but that's what people consider. And
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
they
yeah,
have,
yeah.
it's almost like a face off.
Yeah. What's
Yeah.
the little are they like uh what's the differences between the two temples?
Oh, just different gods.
Okay, okay.
That's exactly it.
But it
But
so
there's
they're
a
like
down.
okay.
Yeah, go on, go on. No, no, go on.
Uh is it I'm assuming it's friendly. Like it's not like we're
Oh yeah,
better
yeah,
than you.
definitely. Yeah,
That's good.
it's not really a competition, but people just consider it for the sake of it. But it's all fun. It's all friendly.
Yes. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
all
yeah.
it's beautiful. It happens once in a year, but like so there's a downside, right?
Mm-hmm.
These are animals, and we
Yeah.
are using them for our own benefit. So
Mm-hmm.
the problem here is it starts late in the afternoon, early afternoon, which means it's throbbing sun, and
Yeah.
they
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
don't get water and food, which means that yeah, they are being used, which is also why there was a problem of not using elephants and all that. But then there's a political side to it because they
Yeah.
invest a lot of money in these festivals. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's one downside.
I mean, yeah, yeah, that definitely makes sense. I mean, you got some animals standing out there for hours at a time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that definitely is. What are some other good ones? Or that's a Kerala one. So what's a Karnataka one festival?
So Karnataka, I don't exactly know what the name is, but there's a bull race which is very famous in Karnataka.
Okay.
Again, it happens once in a year, usually around this birth of the city, which is, by the way, the 1st of November was the birth of the city. It's called Karnataka Rajyotsava. So
You
that's
said
when the
the
city was
birth?
born.
Oh, okay, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Not the city, sorry, the state was born.
Yes,
And
Kambala Festival.
yeah, yes, exactly that. Thank you for telling me. Yeah, that's the bull race. But again, the animals are getting used for. So there's a lot
Yeah.
of problems behind this. But yeah, these are the famous festivals that happen.
Yeah, that was one thing I was part of a friend's podcast of mine over here in America, and it's more politically charged. His podcast is, but I got
Mm-hmm.
invited on because he did a cultural differences misrepresentation episode, and
Mm-hmm.
I was on to try and bridge some gaps that I've come across in my time speaking with people. And one of them, is like when you look at stuff like this, or more. I use the example of like like those uncontacted tribes in like the
Yeah,
Amazon
yeah.
and whatnot.
Mhm.
We and probably even you as an outsider, we can look at some of the stuff that they do, and we're like, oh, that's barbaric or that inhumane.
Mhm.
For them, it's a Tuesday. They don't know
Yeah,
anything else. So yeah, have your opinion, but like it's not their fault essentially. Like that's just how they were raised. That's just how their culture
mhm.
is. It's not really our place to say you shouldn't do that when that's all they've known their entire life.
Yeah, I
I,
definitely agree with you. A lot of people have been born that way, looking at these traditions, festivals go by almost once in a year, so they're waiting for it.
mm,
So having that change of you can't do this, you can't use the animals, you can't do that
yeah,
is something they won't be looking forward to.
yeah. I mean, like for stuff like that, you definitely should protect the animals for sure. And I know what over
Hmm.
in India, elephant is pretty sacred, correct?
Yeah, elephants, cows,
Yeah,
a lot of animals are pretty sacred. Yeah, because they're
yeah.
all related to gods.
Yeah, so I would assume even if at the time those animals might go through a pretty harsh time, at the end of the day, I would assume they're pretty well taken care of. Just my
Yeah,
guess. I don't.
hopefully. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
hope there are a lot of states who do take care of them. So in Kerala, there's a national wildlife sanctuary for
Hmm.
elephants, and they take care of them. So a lot of states that do, but like every other country, there are places in our country that don't. And
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
where the
Yeah.
improvement lies.
Yeah. For
Yeah.
sure.
But so when you talk about festivals, so we
Hmm.
have the whole of our country essentially so Hindus, I'm going to say Hindus in our country essentially celebrate two big festivals, that's Diwali and Holi. So it
Okay.
doesn't matter which state you're from, everyone will celebrate this. Everyone will. And you need to look at this because the first festival is Diwali. It's called the Festival of Lights. There's a lot
All
of
right.
firecrackers and lots of noise.
Well, you mentioned Holi, and I have talked about Holi before. In my
Ah,
first
nice.
India episode, a young journalist named Umvesh from
Hmm.
Lucknow in Uttar Pradesh, we spoke about Holi. The visuals from that were amazing. So
Hmm.
we can definitely, because this one's new. This one, Diwali. I haven't spoken about this one yet. So I'm definitely all for this, and we can jump right into Holi right afterwards. So what is this one for?
So this one is for do you know the story of Ramayana? So Ram brought
Mm-mm.
Sita back. So Ram is a god. He brought his wife back from Sri Lanka, essentially, from Sri
Okay.
Lanka, which is our neighboring country. So
Hmm.
to celebrate that, so when he brought her back to our own country, brought her back to our own land, everyone welcomed them with lights and a lot of lights, which was
Yes.
supposed to be only diyas, but we also started bursting a lot of crackers. So that's the modern
Yeah.
way to celebrate Diwali. Lots of crackers, bombs, rockets, different names,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
bombarding names. Lots of noise too. Like that particular night, if you get some sleep, it'll be a shocker to
If you
sleep
get some
during that
sleep.
night.
I mean,
Yeah.
look at that. That is gorgeous right there.
Hmm.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's like lights going up in the sky. That's probably an amazing sight to be part of.
Yeah. And that's
Have you?
everywhere around our country. It's just that during that one day. It's 6 to 7 days celebration, but the
Mhm.
firecrackers celebrated on one.
Well, that's an awesome
Firecrackers
sight.
burst.
That is a
Mm,
gorgeous sight for sure. Oh wow, that's hundred, if not thousands. Definitely got to be
yeah.
thousands. That's insane. That is cool.
By the way, that picture you see is from a state called Punjab. It's
Mhm.
the temple is called the Golden Temple.
Yeah, I was. Was it Karnataka has one, or is it Kerala? I have it pulled up here, I think, or is it the other one? A lot of the temples over there are painted in gold. Let me get out this crap. Hold on. Are essentially gilded in
Yeah,
gold
in gold, yeah,
everywhere.
because yeah, gold in our country is a big deal. If you have a lot of gold, you're very rich.
Yeah,
And
I've
even
been.
during marriages, like every religion, every kind of marriage, we'll have a lot of gold around our necks.
Yeah, I think what was it? This is the temple I came across, Hindu temple in Kerala. That was, I would say, the main thing I've come to love and just appreciate so much since I've been speaking to people from India. Is the architecture. I love art of any kind, and I love
Mhm.
sculptures and the temples, the super intricate details in some of these places just blow my mind because I like grew up learning about like Greek history and Roman history. And yeah, those are
Right.
cool little pillars and sculptures of people, but nowhere as intricate and detailed as this stuff. That's amazing to me. That is that's some wild, wild stuff that I come across.
Yeah.
That's
A
awesome.
lot of temples in the south, especially, they've been built more than 500, 600 years ago.
Yeah.
And imagine this is 600 years ago, and the architecture and the structure,
Right?
like you said, it's so precise.
Yes.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And the fact that people, they have the government now, they maintain it, which is great
Yeah.
to preserve the temples and to make sure they look as great as they were before,
Oh
which
yeah,
is nice.
because those are like, definitely historical landmarks that should be
Yeah.
preserved and hopefully will be. Because I want to visit one day. I know that. I've spoken to too many people now from India where I have to visit some at some point.
You
I,
should, you definitely should. Yeah.
I'm gonna visit during the winter months because I'm not a fan of the heat. Um, but
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough.
but it's definitely on my list for sure. I've been invited. Are you aware of the artist? He's from Mumbai, Aditya Singh.
I don't think so.
Well, he's an art. He's from a. His father is an actor. His who's played in numerous Bollywood movies. His mother is a painter.
What's his name? What's the dad's name?
Let me find that out. But I've spoken to him numerous times. The picture behind me actually is from him. He sent that
Oh,
to
wow.
me. Yeah. Very, very oh crap. That's not him. Hold on. Well, because Aditya Singh's apparently a pretty common name over there. So I have
Yeah, yeah,
to
that they're very, very common and sing every other
yeah.
person from Punjab or North has sing in it.
Yeah, so I have to, make sure I get the correct one. I'm just gonna pull this up. But I've spoken to him a few times. This guy right here. And this is from last year. Uh,
Oh.
bu- 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 bu-
I feel like I should be knowing him, but uh,
This doesn't have his father's name, but I know his father is an actor and again his mother's a painter, all that kind of good stuff. He's a cool guy though. He is a very very cool individual, very unique, very obviously. I mean,
yeah, that's
that's some
beautiful.
that's exactly right. That is some beautiful work. And I think after I spoke with him, I was like, all right, I got to book a plane ticket at some point and go see that kind of stuff. So you said the food is also very well. You said Kerala is more spicy, right?
Hmm.
And Karnataka is, I
Yeah.
guess, more mild. So what
Hmm.
is your favorite dish from Kerala?
Oh, so my favorite dish from Kerala would be, I don't know if you have heard, but it's called Apam Stew. So it's two different dishes. One is Apam. It's like a flat bread, except completely white flat bread.
Okay.
And stew is the curry you have appam with. It's all white. Even the stew is white. Everything's white. But yeah, appam stew.
How do you
Appam
pronounce
would
that?
be Appam and Stew. Stew.
All right, pulling that up. Let's see what we got here. Oh, that is very white. Oh, that looks like egg yolk, like white egg yolks, and that's bread.
Yeah, it's made of rice. It's rice flour.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. I got you.
Mhm.
That is unique. Yeah, that looks like egg
Yeah.
whites to me. And so that's bread. That's rice bread.
Well, maybe yeah, if you can call it that. Idli, there was one page where you looked up idli. That you can call that rice bread. This is
Uh huh.
almost flattened. So this is very flat. It's nice. Yeah. But you can call it rice bread.
One of the ones I spoke to a guy from India yesterday, actually, and he brought up dosa, which is another thin bread.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's almost like it, but it's the way they make it is quite different. So dosa is made on a pan,
Hmm.
but appam is again on a pan, but it's a different batter. It's
Yeah.
very
This
different.
this yeah this one looks like a crepe. Small thin pancake, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
But
fair
what?
enough. Fair. But there's a lot of butter used in it. It's a lot more crunchier than a pancake.
Yeah.
There's a lot to it.
Sounds
And you
tastier.
know what? There's a place in Karnataka. It's very famous. Well, in
Hmm.
Bangalore, where they sell 101 varieties of dosa, and it's not made up varieties. It's real. Like it's not they just put whatever they want.
Yeah.
These are real varieties of dosa, and there are people lined up every day. Like not now, obviously, because of Corona and all that, but
Yeah.
usually, if it was a usual business day, there'll be around 100 people just lined up. And it's a small stall. It's not a restaurant, it's a
Yeah.
street side stall. So, yeah, you
That's
can
that
have those many types of dosas.
that's probably where I'm gonna be when I go. I'm gonna be lined up with the rest of them. There's a place over here. Well, not where I stay, in the state above me, North
Mhm.
Carolina. It's a small little shop, just probably like that one, and they have like a few hundred varieties of cheesecake, and
Oh,
it's amazing.
wow.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Me and my wife went and visited last, no, early this year before everything went crazy, if I remember correctly. I won't say
Mhm.
February, before everything shut down. And we had like six cheesecakes in our hotel room.
Wow. That is quite ambitious, but good for you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because we were trying to figure out, we were supposed to like get married up there in the mountains.
Mhm.
That we ended up getting married, but we had to do it in a smaller venue, obviously.
Hey,
But
congratulations, but
thank you,
congrats,
thank
man.
you, thank you.
Good.
I love it. It's been great.
That was so
Uh,
nonchalant how you just said we wanted to go get married there, but good for you. Well done.
oh yeah, we made it
Oh,
happen. We made it happen regardless.
that's great.
But yeah, we picked out that spot to try and cater for the wedding,
Mhm.
and so we had I think two cheesecakes picked out. But yeah, it's like just like that place. They have hundreds of very unique but very authentic, I guess,
Mhm.
varieties and flavors of cheesecake. That, whoo, buddy, man, they were amazing. They were definitely amazing.
Like you said, if I was there, that'll be the place I go to because I don't like
Yes,
cakes, but I'm in love with cheesecakes. Like that's one dessert.
yes.
Oh,
All right. You take me to that restaurant. I'll bring you over
oh yeah,
here, and
sure,
we'll go
sure,
to cheesecake.
definitely,
Yes, that would
of
be
course.
great. Um,
Yeah.
so if the white bread is your favorite from Kerala, what is your favorite
Mm.
Karnataka dish?
Right. So I'm gonna get the pronunciation wrong. I might even get the spelling wrong, but it's called puliogre. It's rice, but again cooked very differently. But this is rice. These are grains of rice, but cooked differently. So puliogre would be POLU maybe. Puliogre Karnataka rice. Anything if you can type along the lines of that.
Let's
I'm sure
see.
I even pronounced it wrong.
I think I got it. All right, I'm about to pull it up here in a second. So let me know if this is correct.
Oh yeah, yeah, yes, that is it. Yes.
Okay,
Oh, thank
okay.
God, that is it. Yeah.
All right, so see rice. What else is in here?
So there's different kind of spices. There's
Hmm.
peanuts.
Okay.
That's what makes it so unique because there's so rice gives you maybe softish texture, and then there's peanuts which is crunchy. But there are
Yeah.
few who make the peanuts very soft and
Hmm.
soggy, which I don't really enjoy. But yeah, that's what's so unique about it. And so puliogre, and there's a thing called lemon rice. These are very,
Yes.
very famous in Karnataka and goes around everywhere. So whichever part of Karnataka you go, you'd find these two dishes. A lot of
So
spice. It has a lot of spice. Yeah.
no meat in this one.
No, no, there's no meat in this one. There's no meat in Apam Stew. So here's the thing. A lot of traditional Hindu dishes, at least in
Hmm.
India, are vegetarian. There isn't any meat of sorts.
Okay.
But if you look at traditional Muslim dishes in India, or maybe even Christian dishes, that has a lot of meat. So
Yes.
Muslim traditional dishes in India would be biryani. Have you heard of
Yes. Yes, I have.
biryani? Yeah, so
Yes.
the mutton biryani, so it has mutton in it,
Hmm.
and Christians have wherever they are from. So yeah, Hindus in India traditionally don't have meat.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but it's true.
Say that again.
I
Oh,
said it's
oh,
unfortunate, but
oh.
yeah,
I got you.
because I eat meat, so I have to
Yes.
look out for meat. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I don't particularly care for vegetables. I prefer meat and breads. The unhealthy foods, the good
Mm.
foods. Um,
Yeah, the good food.
yes, because yeah, the individual I spoke with yesterday, Garov, for he's from Pune, and he told me the same thing. He said, even up there in Pune, it's mainly vegetarian stuff. And asked him,
Mhm.
why that is, and his reasoning for it was more so because of the workload. Because up there, it's just like I guess like Karnataka, it's very IT and computer forward
Oh.
up there. So he said the usually the meat dishes are reserved for
Mhm.
the laborers, the people working out in the fields or construction stuff like that for the protein.
Mhm.
But if you're sitting behind a desk, you don't necessarily need all that protein. So the brain food, vegetables,
Mhm.
is a reason why. For at least that's one of the ones, one of the reasons he described. Um, but both very very easily understandable. Religion definitely plays a part in
Yeah.
people's diets. Same with work life and everything as well. So very
Yeah,
true, very
but
true.
interestingly, I've never heard that before, and I don't know
Really,
which part of field he works in, but I really haven't heard that before. It's very, very interesting.
but it makes
Whoa.
sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does make sense.
Yeah.
Exactly. I never thought about it. I never thought of it that way. So it does make sense.
Well, I know when me and him ended our show, he's talking about being interested in starting his own podcast. So I told him to let me know whenever he does,
Mhm.
and I'm sure even after this, I would love to stay in touch with you.
Oh yeah,
And
sure, yeah.
and so whenever he gets his rolling, I'll go on his probably, and you guys can network
Yes.
together and bounce ideas and whatnot off each other. Sure, that would
Mhm.
be great. So, what have you been outside of India?
Yeah, I've only been to Dubai, the
Okay.
UAE.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've only been there. My brother's been to England and
Okay.
a lot of places outside, but I've only been to Dubai. My dad's, of course, traveled around because of
Yeah.
his work, so that's a given. But I personally have only traveled to UAE.
What's a country whenever everything's gone back to normal? What's a country you
Mhm.
would love to visit?
Well, I would love to visit Australia
Okay.
only because. So I have you heard of the sport cricket?
Yes. Of
So it's
course.
yeah, it's very famous and it's yeah the number one sport in as in not the number one. I'm just being biased, but most of the population plays cricket. If I put it that
Yes.
way.
No. Cricket is huge in India. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So Australia has a lot of history, and a
Hmm.
lot of the stadiums have museums.
Okay.
And I'm a museum kind of a guy, so I'd love
Okay.
to go to Australia, go to all the museums, and yeah, that's why.
Hey, I don't knock you for it. Again, as a lover of history, Museums are great.
Mm.
I love them too.
Yeah, they are great. Yeah.
They are. So, what are some misunderstandings you could tell me that you hear about India that you feel are wrong? And if you could clear the air.
All right, so I have this habit of going to Omegle and just having
Okay.
fun. Just because, like you said, so you started this podcast to speak better, so I thought might as well do that and a
Yeah.
podcast just to see where things go. And that's I don't know if I can describe Omegle, but yeah, that's that. But so one thing I find constantly, it's not bugging, but I understand where they come from, is that a lot of them think that Indians don't speak English,
Yeah.
which
Hmm.
yeah, which is not necessarily true because we are the second biggest country according to population, second biggest English speaking population in the world.
Yeah.
So the argument there is that we're also the second largest population in the world, but a
Hmm.
lot of people in our country who speak English have qualified from Harvard, one of the best colleges in the world. So yeah, but I don't blame them because a lot of Western shows,
Hmm.
again, even in India, a lot of America is portrayed in a very stereotypical way. I don't blame any country, but a lot
Really?
of Western shows, yeah, yeah.
Well,
So a lot of Western shows. Go on.
I was saying, that podcast of my friends I was on, where they invited me for their cultural misunderstandings and whatnot. That he asked me what was the one thing that I've come across that a lot of people don't seem to realize, and that was mine. Language. We think of there's a fair amount. Excuse me. I'll say a fair amount of Americans that believe again that English is our national language, which it's not, and that if you look different and you don't speak English, something's wrong with you or you need to get out of the country. But God forbid somebody who looks different speaks English, you get that, okay, but where are you from? You know?
Right. Yeah.
But no, no, no.
Hmm.
Well, where are you really from? Where are your
Hmm.
parents from? And that's stupid. Because if you look at not just India, but majority of countries, because English is so widely used in business and companies, it's
Hmm.
taught. It's taught as a second language to
Yeah.
most countries. Like here in the States, I had the option to learn a second language. I didn't have to. And whereas other countries sometimes learn second languages in like earlier years, like kindergarten or, elementary school, at least where I grew up, I didn't get the option until high school. And that's usually not
Right.
really a
Right.
thing. So I'm assuming you grew up learning in school Hindi and English pretty much at the same time, correct?
Yeah. Ironically, we our first language is English. So in school,
Yeah.
a lot of schools have first language English, and second language is the choice of where if you the state you're from or the
Yeah.
state you are in. So yeah, Hindi went along the way with English, but it stopped after a certain point. So
Hmm.
English was throughout. That's the
Yeah.
ironic part about it. Even though our country is diverse with so many languages, our first language taught in school is English.
I'm saying, yeah, that
Go
is
on, go on.
definitely one thing that is grossly misunderstood from a lot of people. And
Mhm.
a lot of the countries I've looked at, like I said, I try and set an hour or two before every episode to research and look into stuff of that individual's country, which is why I asked where exactly in India you were from.
Correct.
And a
Hmm.
lot of times when you do that, you come across, don't ask them how they know English. It's offensive. Maybe it's a touristy thing, and English speaking countries like I'm going to say America. Probably more of an American thing. Might go over and like, oh, how do you know English? And person's been learning it since they were a child, just like we did. That is kind of offensive to automatically assume that because they're from another country, they don't know English. It is pretty. It's a very arrogant and ignorant thing to assume. And definitely, I
Hmm.
would say the number one misunderstanding I've come across by far.
Yeah, definitely. But also, I look at it in their side and think that it's they aren't all that wrong because India is a country. Like, if I'm not from India, I would know that India is a country who they don't actually speak English because that's not their first language.
Yes.
Because they have so many languages across the states and cities and whatever. So I don't. necessarily blame them for
Hmm.
misunderstanding, but sure, yeah, they need. I feel like most of them need to be open about the fact that different countries have a lot of countries speak English more than
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. I feel it's definitely one of those things that once you hear it, it makes total sense, but you might not know it until it's, presented
Yeah,
to
true,
you.
true.
It's one of those.
Hmm.
Yeah. 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 Definitely agree there. So if whenever I come to visit Karnataka, what is the best tour or best place that you feel I should go to?
All right, so I'm not quite sure about the best tourist place to go to, but because I go to a university
Hmm.
in Manipal, it's a city in Karnataka again,
Okay.
and all right. So two places, two cities you need to visit. It's not a particular destination, but two cities where you can. There are destination in the city. So one is Manipal, which
Okay.
is predominantly filled with students because it's the largest, as the whole city is covered with universities and colleges. But it's a beautiful, beautiful city. There are beaches all around because again, it's near the coast,
Yeah.
and the food is great. It's different kind of people again. It's like a Bangalore except filled with students
Hmm.
because college is all around. And second is Mysore. And
Yes, I've came across that one.
yeah, and Mysore, the fun fact about Mysore, I think it was last year or last to last year, it was the cleanest city in our whole country,
Really?
which took us, yeah, which took the people outside Mysore by surprise.
Uh
At
huh.
least a lot of us by surprise. But yeah, it was the cleanest city in our country. Mysore also has this Mysore Palace,
Yes, I
which
got that
is
one. I got that one pulled up.
beautiful. Oh wow, it's
Yeah, one of the articles I came across for Mysore said that it's the second most visited place in India after the Taj Mahal.
yes, that's completely true. And even after that, it was the cleanest city in our whole country, which is
Hmm.
also why it took us by surprise because it is the second most visited city and cleanest too. So,
Well, that's obviously cool. Definitely, tourism has to be a huge, huge help to India because again, like I'm looking, excuse me, at just this architecture. I could just type in India palaces, India temples, and you
mhm.
see some of the most gorgeous, extremely intricate buildings and sculptures that I've ever seen. Not only just buildings, I know there's a lot of religious statues in India.
Yes,
Um,
yeah, a lot of
they're
big ones too,
huge.
large ones.
Yes,
Yeah.
very large. There was, I think it was you guys. I don't know if it's Karnataka or anywhere near, but there's somewhere that has the world's largest that just like opened up not too long ago, if I recall. And it's a I can't type and talk at the same time. It's like is this is in India, correct?
Yes, this is in India, but this isn't. He's a political figure.
Yes,
He
yes.
has, yeah, yeah.
But it's currently right now the world's largest statue, and this is against that's the Brazil one. That's one in Europe, if I recall. It's us in America, and you got two different Buddhas here. And I know
Yes.
that one's more like gold looking in real life. Because
Hmm.
funny enough, me and my son actually watched a YouTube video yesterday of like the 10 largest statues in the world. And he was like, "Oh, Daddy, look at that one." And a lot of them were like various Buddha statues. And he's like, "That's the same one." I was like, "No, it's the same guy. It's the same person, but it's a different statue in a different part of the, the country. It's different. Trust me." But he looks alike. I'm like, I know. He's sick, so you got to help him out sometimes. So, what is a hobby like for you over there in India?
My hobbies or people in
Yes.
general.
Well, we'll
So,
start with you, and then we'll go in general.
all right. So like I said, I want to be a journalist. So I read,
Yes.
I write a lot. I at least practice writing, even though it's the most hideous of pieces and articles. I think I'm improving. I
Okay.
might be improving. I don't even know at this point. But yeah, I practice a lot. I read, I write, I play sports, I work out. I make
Hmm.
sure that my days are packed so that I don't waste time or it
Yeah.
doesn't go. it's not unproductive.
Hmm.
Yeah, those are my hobbies. But people in general, so this is so had to, if someone asked me to describe India in a word or two, I'd say it's vibrant and exciting only
Hmm.
because there aren't people sitting around floundering the streets. It's always active, right? And
Yeah.
that's one part of our country which is so great. I'm not taking away anything from the rest of the countries. I don't know.
Hmm.
I'm just describing India as it is. That wherever you go, whichever part of the country, whichever tradition, religion, whatever they follow, it's always so exciting. They're always friendly. They're always out there. They're
Yeah.
they're always ready to speak to you. Most of them are at
Hmm.
least ready to speak to you, and it's great. Like, and so like you spoke about tourism,
Hmm.
and I feel like the northeastern part of our country is not spoken. So we have a great ads and ambassadors for the northeastern part of our country, but they are called the Seven Sisters, by the way, the northeast part of our country, and
Okay.
that is one place you need. So Seven Sisters, basically seven states
Hmm.
which are joined together in the Northeast. And if you ever visit India, you shouldn't ever miss that
Okay.
because that's even though India is different in different states and religion, that one part of our country is completely different. The people are different. Even the vibe, if I can use that slang, that's disappointing. But even the vibe in that part of our country is very, very different. If you look up Seven Sisters in India, and
Yeah.
it's a lot like there are a lot of forests, there are a lot of tribal communities.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's beautiful. I don't think there's a state that's joined together like that, which is more heartwarming. Like that's a dream of mine. If I can travel, I've traveled a lot in our country, but I've never been to the northeastern part of our country,
Yeah.
and that's where I'll go to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so like those images, there are waterfalls, there are mountains, there's snow.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the type
So
of, if I do vacations too, like I want to be outside. I don't want
yeah.
to be in. I'll go through a museum, sure,
Mm.
but if it's something like seeing palaces or I have a fascination of cave systems
Oh wow.
and
Okay.
mount. This is I like to hike, so mountainous ranges. This where is it? That I don't even know what that
Mm.
is, but that just looks cool. Little,
Yeah.
it's like a bridge maybe made out of just the trees
Yeah.
and the vines. That's gorgeous. That's awesome. That's, I mean, when me and my wife's original wedding spot was supposed to be in front of a waterfall in North Carolina in the mountains.
Oh,
That was what it
wow.
was supposed to be. uh,
Wow.
but life happens and you gotta go with
Mm-hmm.
what you can.
True.
But
The
I,
fact
I
that you guys did get married
we
and
did.
uh
We did.
yeah.
We made it work. And she cried and I cried. It happens. Oh yeah, look at
So
that.
I guess
Oh,
I want to
dude,
thank you. Yeah,
that
that's
is
exactly that bridge. Yeah.
that is amazing. That is a what do you call it, like nature bridges or something like that?
Yeah, it's naturally built.
That is, look at that, man. That is absolutely badass. That is so
Mm.
cool. But yeah, I feel I could probably visit India 10, 20 times and only scratch the surface
Yeah,
of
true
what it
that.
has to offer, man. So it's in the books. It's hopefully going to happen at some point in my life. Fingers crossed on that. But man, Aswin, I've enjoyed this. This has been great. I've loved talking to you. I love anytime I talk to somebody from India. I learn something new every single time, see new stuff. So this is awesome.
Mhm.
Again, I would love to stay in contact with you even after this.
Oh yeah,
And
sure, yeah, definitely.
so you have the floor. If you want to, you can promote anything you got. Obviously, promote your podcast, promote anything else you may have going on. Mention where people can find you, anything like that. Floor is yours, sir.
I before that, can I ask you a question
Yes, of
before we end
course.
this? So before you got into liking history and
Hmm.
had the fascination of history as such, what was that spark that just ticked you off and figured, oh, I want to do this. I love history and I want to figure
Yep.
out what traditions and cultures of other countries? What was that take in your life?
If I hadn't, I've spoken about this before. If I have to narrow it down, it was when I was younger. You know, we have History Channel and Discovery Channel, and I remember watching a 2 hour special on ancient China, ancient Chinese history,
Oh,
and the
hmm,
inventions. You know, Chinese invented. They invented essentially a machine gun. They invented the repeating crossbow. They invented paper. You know, black powder. They invented black powder.
all right.
They invented so much that we take for granted
Mhm.
today. And that's the earliest thing that I can recall that made me go, whoa, you know, that.
Wow.
And I think from there it's just grown. So probably that 2 hour special back however long ago it was on History Channel, I believe, about ancient Chinese culture is what got me started, I would say.
These are the tales I love to hear. Like the
Yeah.
fact to how people got into their field. It's
Hmm.
just so heartwarming. Yeah. Right. So if you want to follow us, so we talk about podcast, we talk about politics, science, technology, we talk about mental health. There's
Okay.
also a cricket episode that's every week. It's called Just Baatein again.
Uh-huh.
BAATEIN. We are also there on Instagram, Twitter, whatever. But yeah, our podcast is then every mainstream podcast platform. That's Spotify, Google Podcast, and
Hmm.
Apple Podcast. So yeah, that's about it really.
And it's
Oh,
just,
and thank you
yes.
so much. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for calling me. Because I wouldn't have done this even before, even 5 minutes before this podcast. I don't know why was I so nervous, but I
What? Why?
enjoyed this, man. I really
Why?
enjoyed this. I don't know. I just
It's
didn't
because I'm
know why. Because
American. Is it because I'm American?
no, no, I swear not. Because we have had American guests on our podcast too.
Yeah.
It's just I didn't know if I would fit in, if I would say the right things, if I was good enough for the episode. Yeah, so
Oh
stuff like that.
man, no, it was great. I've loved this. I've loved this.
Thank
Your
you. Thank
podcast again is Just Baatein.
Yes. Oh yes. Yes. You're the first American who's pronounced it right. Oh great.
All right, so everybody listen. Check out Ashwin and his friend at Just Baatein, the podcast. Even if you don't want or know anything about India, check them out. I'm sure you'll learn something new every day, especially if you're a big fan of cricket over there. Cricket's huge. If you're curious about cricket or anything India related, check them out. And yeah, Ashwin, once again, thank you a lot, and you have yourself a great day over there.
Thank you so much, man. Take care.
You too.